Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Ryan Selvy. This is Filed New, your best update for designer news, creator news, art news, you name it. Today we've got a lot of fun stuff on the show, from resources that you can use to increase your workflow. We are going to go through our font of the week with a brand new crown. We're going to be looking at some different updates about TikTok, YouTube. We got a law firm that is suing Disney. Lots to talk about, lots to be inspired by and discuss. So we're glad to have both of you here on both Behance and on YouTube. Hello to everyone in chat. Let's go ahead and hop into our top news stories. Starting off strong with YouTube, as we are broadcasting on YouTube after all. Hello over there to Tracy and Joel. I do see you there in the chat. Also, there's a bunch of people on Behance, but I love seeing you on YouTube because it helps the algorithm. YouTube announced new creator tools at its Made on YouTube event. This happened last week. They have it every year, and it was a big update to updates to YouTube Studio. It was an update to YouTube Live, Shorts, and monetization features. Studio now includes tools like inspiration tabs. They're introducing A/B testing, which, if you are unfamiliar with A/B testing, that is a term that's used a lot in marketing, where you put two things in front of different audiences and you see what performs better, and then you're able to make informed decisions based off of what is performing better, and then you can move forward and be like, oh, okay, when I put a kitty cat in the thumbnail, then I got a lot more clicks than when I put a puppy, which, I mean, that's all up to you guys anyway. But they also introduced simultaneous horizontal and vertical streaming, which is really cool. That's something that we run into a lot with streaming on any sort of like Adobe platform. It's hard because when you have it on your phone and it's this tiny and it's horizontal, you really can't see what's happening. So it's cool to be able to adjust and be able to set up your streams to be vertical. I'm going to look into that to see how that can be applied to this. Also, there are some new ad formats. As far as shorts and podcasts go, they're getting some new generative AI tools with new brand deals, shopping tags, and sponsorship features, expanding monetization options. You can check out everything that is announced in more detail by going to Made on YouTube's splash page that they have. But as with every episode, including this episode, we have links to all of our news stories in the raindrop. I'm going to throw them in both of the chats for you guys. Oliver says, Ryan News? Yeah, Ryan News. I can give you some updates for Ryan News. Ryan has a cold, so if my voice is a little bit more annoying this week or more soothing, just know that you have preferences on how I sound when I have a cold. I do have Dayquil, so we'll see what's up. We have our Gavril Brown, who says, Kern down for what? I think I have that hat somewhere. I got one of the Kernosaur Nalgene's, which I'm very excited about. I still need to wash it, but we went to the Kern Frints by Good Type last week, and we had an event for Adobe in New York and in Chicago, and it was really fun. So good to see everyone from there. We also say that Joel says, I love streaming on both vertical and horizontal. See? All right. It's a win-win situation. Hello to Wade as well. Thank you for being here. Next story that we have today is dreaded TikTok. I know every single time we talk about this stupid news story, it just seems like I'm saying the same news story every single week. But the deal advanced with the U.S., and there is new ways in about the algorithm and ownership. It is running up to the deadline for December 16th, and it's moving forward with reports of an executive order coming soon. U.S. companies, including Oracle, will now be expected to take an 80% stake in TikTok's American operations, while ByteDance, who currently owns everything, may retain one board seat. There were early concerns that users were going to have to download a new app in America if you wanted to use TikTok, but now it's looking like that is actually going to switch up, and there's going to be an update so that everything just remains native and you just can keep the same app as long as it's just TikTok. But when you're geofenced within America, you'll be getting the American algorithm. Analysts warn that moving TikTok's system to Oracle's infrastructure will be technically difficult, and they're raising doubts about whether the platform could survive the change, but it is something to be aware of and something that will be happening now, hopefully within the next 3 months, and I can hopefully stop reporting on it, but who knows? TikTok is always in the news. Talking about legal troubles, though, next up we have our Disney thing. Now, we've talked a lot about this, and the reason I included this is because public domain is very important for us artists. For the longest time, it was like kind of stuck in the 20s moving forward. You could never use anything. If you guys remember a few months or years ago, we were reporting about how it finally has switched up to have Disney's intellectual property from early to 1900s was accessible to people, and you are now able to use Steamboat Willie. Now, there is a law firm, Morgan & Morgan, that has now filed a lawsuit against Disney over their plans to use Mickey and Minnie from the 1928 short Steamboat Willie in an ad. And the reason why they're doing this is they're doing it proactively. They said that the film entered the public domain in 2024, but the firm says Disney's history of aggressively defending its IP makes legal action likely. The lawsuit asks the court to confirm that Morgan & Morgan's ad won't infringe Disney's right and to prevent Disney from suing over it. It's a preemptive strike and a growing wave of disputes over how iconic characters can be used once they enter the public domain. The call is to try to find out if there are brand guidelines or something where there could be clear direction as to whether or not how you can use and when you can use these certain intellectual properties that are now in the public domain. There are other very famous characters like Winnie the Pooh that is also in there. I don't believe Tigger is maybe available yet, but it is something that is coming up. Hello to Evie Johnson, who's saying hello in the chat. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from. Thank you, Miss Melanie, for the kind words about File New. Really appreciate that. Yes, Winter is saying he is public domain, though. Yes, and that is the reason why they are looking to get clarification for it. It's very interesting. Next up is some more Adobe Live news. I just wanted to take a second to highlight the schedule that we have here. There is a bunch of content that's happening this week. Right now, obviously, we're on Wednesday, so we only got these most recent ones that are coming up. We just had the vodcast that was live with Paul Ash. He's a really phenomenal video editor, and he does a lot of video editing and filming on his phone, and then takes that and tells you how you can kind of apply those to your methods. The one thing that is really interesting in the conversation is talking about aspect ratio, how it might change again, and who knows, even with like foldables, because there's a lot of rumored foldables coming out where, you know, then suddenly our aspect ratios aren't going to suddenly be vertical anymore. Suddenly they might be square. What will that look like? How do we continuously adapt? And then, of course, you also have updates to YouTube that we just talked about that say that you can stream in both vertical and horizontal. I personally really liked the Snapchat glasses that came out back in like 2017, where they basically filmed in a square, but they made it a circle, so then when you moved your phone, it would just constantly stay full screen. Hard to film shots with that, but I thought it was a really cool function. I was kind of bummed to see that never popped up with other phones. But I digress. That was a vodcast. You should check out the full replay. It's an hour long. It is on the YouTube page. That is youtube.com/@Adobe Live Community. You can check it out. This is the last stream of the day on YouTube, but after that, we do have a brand new show with Stephen Overturf, and this is a really exciting one for if you're someone who is into design, but you don't really feel like we cover a lot of sports design. Stephen is a really amazing sports designer, not specifically only sports, but he really shines when it comes to sports. Hello to Keys and Rick, who are saying hi in the chat. But this is a new show that's going to be over on Twitch. It has really great branding that he already created, and it's basically going to be using a design sprint with Steven as he goes through these different prompts and brings in both sports and active design and how that can also be reflected in your speeds. We also had Make It Pop yesterday. This was with Steffi Fong. She is a digital fashion designer. So digital fashion is something that's becoming more and more prevalent, especially with the idea of video games, virtual experiences, AR, all the XR, all the above, and also just good for being able to work on a global scale. Steffi is very well known in the industry. She actually even attended a fashion week last week, but she's working in Substance, which is a program within the Adobe Cloud that lets you work on 3D models, and she works with Substance 3D, Substance Painter, and this is a Twitch show that happens on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific or 2 p.m. Eastern, and she walks you through your process of how to make it pop. And Make It Pop obviously is something that is way too often given as feedback to very vague criticism of different pieces of work that you might provide to a client. She makes a really good case for looking at that feedback, being able to translate it so you can understand what they're actually looking for, even if they don't know what they're looking for, and then being able to apply it to your designs, in this case, a 3D atmosphere. It's very cool. I'm not familiar with 3D, but I still had a really good time watching it, and I hope that you guys like it too. We'd love to hear what you think about it. And then the CA and LA girls are still with us for Wednesdays as well, but they have changed their show. It is now at 12:30, same time, but it is Edit Like a Pro. So they're going to focus a lot more on video editing and how to work in all these different expertise that they have, because they are professional filmmakers, and they're going to teach you how to use it as well. So that's the new update. I will be posting the schedule like this now onto the Discord. I got feedback that the other way that I was posting it was a little too complicated to read. So if you now go to the Discord, which I heavily encourage you to, you'll be able to see that the schedule is now there. I'm also working on different ways to make sure that there are better places for you guys to figure out the schedule for the week. There also was a newsletter that went out this week. We're going to find out a good like Google form or something to sign up for it if you did not get it and you want it. But that is something that is coming down the pipeline, and I would love your guys' feedback just to glue it all together and make it so that Adobe Live feels like one whole circular thing rather than just one-off things like when you come to File New, which I love that you're here. I just want to let you guys know that there's a whole community here all hanging out. Speaking of community, though, there is a great conference coming up. They actually advertised it a little bit during the conference, but it is the Brand New conference. We use Brand New a lot, especially in our Rebrand segment, where we're looking at rebrands and things that are changing their branding. They actually have a conference every year for the last like 10 years or so, where they go and they talk all things rebranding and logo design and brand messaging and bring everything together. They have a in-person event coming up on October 23rd and 24th, but it'll also be available online. The in-person registration, though, is closing on October 10th. So if you are interested and you are in the Pittsburgh area, this is something that you're going to want to schedule for scheduling as soon as possible. And then if you're looking to look for remote registration, that closes on October 24th. Hello, Zonafly. Welcome back. Good to see you here. And Gabriel says, thanks for making the schedule pop. Thank you for thanking me for making the schedule pop. We worked with a brand company called Avi. They did a really great job, and they really helped with making the newsletter look good. But it's all about making things more interesting on the eyes. In Instagram's updates, there is a new way to customize your algorithm. This is something, if you're here from my post about doom scrolling, I've been doom scrolling way too much frequently, and I'm having a hard time being able to navigate being online so much, because it's nice to be informed, but it also is really hard that when I see scary news or news that is weird, I click into it and then it continues to serve more. Lucas O'Keefe recently brought up that there was a new announcement coming about how you can customize your algorithm. Lucas has streamed with us a bunch of times, and this is a really good walkthrough of how now there are settings. So you can go to a new option to customize your algorithm being your settings. It says it'll tell you what they think you are interacting with and what you're going to. And you can remove things that you don't want to see or things you don't want to. So in this way, like, you know, if there's menswear or Paris travel or vlogs or tennis that you don't want to see, you can get rid of it. The changes will initially be reflected in your Reels tab, but will eventually be added to your main feed as well. Instagram's new priorities will be Reels, DMs, and recommendations moving forward. And yeah, make sure you check out his content. He always has really good content about updates to both algorithms, to apps. He's an Adobe Express ambassador, so there is plenty to learn just by following him, and it's never bad news, so it's good. Joel is saying that this definitely needs to be reflected in TikTok, which I definitely agree. Jacob says, I'm starting therapy today for less phone usage. Well, we'll see if you're using it on your phone. Also, Kendall's talking about this new cinematic size, which I did not have linked, but I did experience for Instagram. And it is this crazy, super thin version of Instagram posts that are like super, super, super tiny. This is from someone called Your Social Team, and this is just from a quick Google. But basically, you can make it extremely wide, so then when you're scrolling down, it's like this little itty bitty bitty baby. You know who did it first, from what I saw, was Tyler Pate, actually. He is a fantastic illustrator, has done some pretty cool stickers too, for different stuff. But you can see here it has, trust the process, the creative pain, friend club, which he has a good community too, but nice tiny small thing. And look at me with 49 likes. I said I didn't know you could upload such a small dimension. Oh, I liked it by myself. Didn't mean to do that. That brought it to 50. We don't want to do that. But Gabo said I'd probably doom scroll if it was in chronological order. I'll one up you. I'll doom scroll no matter what. Don't you worry. And then our last piece of news in the news section today is some final Adobe news, and this is now Firefly boards, which are now worldwide with new AI tools. It says they've officially launched Firefly boards worldwide. It's a collaborative space for brainstorming, iteration, and real-time creative work. New features include presets for one-click style generation, generative text edit for editing text directly in visuals, and describe image for turning images into editable prompts. The update adds supports for 2 new video models as well, both Runway and Moon Valley, and they're expanding Firefly's lineup of industry-leading AI partners. It's rolling out flexible subscription options, so you can also make sure that you have the plan that most well reflects how you use it, and integrating Firefly more deeply with Creative Cloud, Photoshop, and Adobe Express. Those are our top news stories for today. But the second segment that we always go into, and also has its own little update today, will be Font of the Week, which is, well, we'll go into it once we press the little thing. All right, over the week, I think it was even on Thursday, I was messing around a little bit with what Font of the Week looked like. We have a crown that for the longest time I was using a emoji, if you will, of the crown, and so I started messing around a little bit with maybe a Font of the Week crown that we can then put on the winner every single week. And so I made up these, and then I put up a poll on both the Discord and on Instagram. You can see here on Discord, 67% of the vote was going to crown 2. This was actually also reflected in the Instagram poll as well. There is definitely a draw towards the second one. So I went towards the second one. I still didn't feel like it was where I wanted to, so I ended up making it into this. What do you guys think? Are we happy about it? Do we like it? I'm guessing this is it's not an F for Font of the Week, but T for type, and then I have the little cursors on the side, left and right. I don't know. Are we happy with this? Is this in a good spot? Do we need to continue to iterate, or are you guys super happy? I also wanted it so that it's a little bit, rather than seeing the underside, it's on the top one. Oliver says he likes the purple one. Yes. I also was curious about the purple one, but if you look at kind of like how it's just laid out, and this is going to be a super thing, but like I was worried it made it look like too transparent. It looks like it was like had a hole in it, which I wasn't sure if that was the vibe, just because we always kind of have the back. Rick says, do the sparkles mean it was created with AI? No, dude, it was made by me. It's just shiny. It's just sparkles. Back in my day, you could just have sparkles and it was just shiny. But if this reads as AI, we don't need that. Key says we're happy. Gavril says it's great for symmetry. Thank you. Miss Melanie also likes it, and Joel likes it. T for Tracy. Get out of here. Gavril says bueno. Thanks, guys. But I know you guys love to be able to vote on these. So the way that this works is we're going to look at all 3 of these typefaces. All 3 of these typefaces are available on Adobe Fonts. That is available with your subscription, free of charge, besides the, obviously, subscription Creative Cloud charge. And these are 3 different ones that are available that you can activate at any given time. And so I like to put it up to a vote in the YouTube poll. So if you're over on Behance, make sure you at least hop into the YouTube poll to be able to, the YouTube chat to be able to vote. Also, just in general, if you guys are active on the YouTube poll, it's better for the show. Obviously, if you are Behance Ride or Die, I'm not going to tell you to not do that, but I'm going to just ask you to do YouTube anyway. But I'm going to start this poll for Font of the Week, and then we're going to go through each of these, and we're going to talk a little bit about what they are, what they're best used for, who made them, etc. And then we get to vote at the end. And then by the end of the show, we get to pick. All right. Leah is also saying the T for the type tool is best and always love the sparkles. Perfect touch. Thank you, Leah. Appreciate you. First one we have today for font of the week is adhesive number 8. On their thumbnail, it says NO, but when you're actually typing out the type, it's actually NR, which is interesting. Maybe that's a cultural thing. It feels like more German to me. I'm not sure. But it is created by Roland Horman for Phospho, which is PHOSPHO, like phosphorus. It is a display and black letter hybrid. So black letter is what you would think of with, like scrolls and old like writings of like Bibles or like medieval scripting. It is a modern reinterpretation of black letter forms, but with cleaner and more readable structuring. It's built on the adhesive tape method, which means that the strokes mimic strips of tape or folded shapes. And this version is a streamlined variation of adhesive number 7, which is why this is adhesive number 8, sacrificing heavy texture in favor of clarity, which I think makes it feel a little bit more professional in my opinion. And to widen usability, difficult black letter shapes of F, H, K, Z, K, long, S, X, Y, and Z were reworked with influences from grotesque forms to maintain legibility in all uppercase context. This style is ideal for display settings, needing a mix of historic black letter flavor and modern readability. So think titles, think packaging, think poster headlines. We always like to go in and make this say, oop. Why are you not properly doing this? We're going to see if we can fix this because that's definitely not adhesive. Number 8. Ooh. Dislike. If it doesn't work like this way, we can always just hop into... What if we switch to another typeface and then we switch back? That's what I get for being prepared this week. Like I had this all ready to go last night and now my computer's like, LOL. All right, so we're going to go to the raindrop, which is where all the links live. You can always get to it. The winner will be put in font of the week. But if we go over to their page here, you can see other really good examples of them. And in our sample text, we can actually just write file new, and you guys can see how they look, which is cool because it reads well. As I was saying before, you put it in all caps, and it even works. We have the F, H, Z, K, S, X, and Y, which all feel like they fit pretty well. Not sure why it's not working in my Photoshop. As you guys could see, it was. Maybe it just doesn't want to put file new in that. So we'll say thanks for the hearts in the YouTube chat. I appreciate you, and I do see you. There we go. Did that fix it? That fixed it. All right. Who knows what I did wrong, but I take full responsibility. We always like to look at the glyphs as well, which you can always access by going to Windows Glyphs. And this one has nice kind of spooky fonts. I also like these because Blackletter can read as spooky, and we're entering October. And I would love to see you guys nice, creepy fonts and designs. Rick is saying, as long as it's printed with red dye number 8. Ooh, we're just going to 888 it up. Maybe make 8 pieces of print with red number 8 with adhesive number 8. And this has nice accents for you. It doesn't look like you can do your math homework. It doesn't have like a divide sign or anything. It has plus or minus, but you wouldn't be able to get through all of that calculus. The numbers also have variants that are small numbers or big numbers, up to you. And you can see they add a lot of flair, and it's nice. Technology. Haha, it happens. Yeah, don't I know it, dude. Don't I know it, Joel. Appreciate the love. So we're going to look at file. I did it again because it hates me. We're going to move on from it, though. But you guys, we're just going to leave that as test 1 then. And then we'll go from there. Next up is Rama Gothic. This is, I think we've done Rama Slav before, which is also created by Dharma Type. This is by Ryoichi Tsunekawa. It is an antique sans serif. It's a display typeface. It evokes wood type with a vintage retro sans feel. You can see that it is nice. It is clear. This is also not... I'm being tested today. Why is it working on all the ones except the ones we want to highlight? Okay, there we go. Highlight. You can see here, it's very clear, very big. You would definitely, it's very thin. It's kind of, this one's condensed. which is yet another version of it, but even the regular version is pretty thin. It is distressed age treatment to strokes, gives it a weather wood type effect. It is condensed with careful shaping to evoke nostalgia and includes stylistic alternatives. It has 18 styles, which is between italics and condensed and extended. It's good for posters, titles, branding with throwback retro wood type vibe, any design featuring retro character. You could definitely imagine this on a painted sign, I feel like. Very clear, very impactful. Has a bunch of stuff for you to use, like your registered trademark, or you have your of a million, or what we're talking about, number signs, got some Greek letters in there, but no arrows. I want my arrows. Reverb Mike is saying it feels like Impact. Yes, but it's I feel like you said that last week about another one too. Like, there are ones that look like Impact, but Impact itself like just looks. Wait, was that between the two? There's no way that is also. I think it just gave me an error maybe. Yeah. So I feel like there's a little bit of difference. It actually is pretty similar. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty similar. It feels very impacty. But what do you mean? Rama doesn't have enough drama. Get out of here. The fonts are shy today. Yes, I see. Patrick is here. Hey, Patrick. Love that. He says, I voted the poll, but I don't know the difference in the fonts. I fear I am the problem. I apologize. I see now they are on the screen that I'm actively looking at, and I apologize. Well, welcome. Great to have you here, Mr. Patrick. We have TT Globs here. Also, if you guys are ever on Twitch, which you should be on Adobe, not during Adobe live streaming hours, Patrick runs a wonderful video game podcast, which is called Spotlight Games, and he also runs Drop In, Drop Out. So if you're looking for good video game stuff, make sure you check that out. And then our third one we have is TT Globs, which is a slab serif display by Antonia Zolkova and Yulia Gonina from TypeType. And it is an expressive slab forms with warm personality and wide proportions. Super wide, which I like, but also very clear to read, which is always a plus. It has asymmetrical wave-like terminals, flowing elements, and some glyphs in stretched rather than wide proportions. I mean, like, look at this G. Like, that was a fun G. That's a fun G. Fogel new. And then there's bunch of glyphs here with a bunch of different accents, so you can do different numbers that have circles. You have fractions. You can do there's a Bitcoin there. There is different symbols with little eyes that's nice and spooky, where you could have a lot of fun with this. It also has sparkles for you, Rick. It's got some waves. I am partial towards this one. I know I'm not supposed to say what my favorite is, but I really like TT Globs. It is a bold display typography and branding, signage, posters, needing typographic warmth and character with expressive slab forms. So there we go. Patrick is saying, I think Rama is my favorite too, even though I voted for the spooky one. Oh my gosh, thanks for the shout out. That's what I always say. You don't want to vote too early because you might change your mind as we get more into it. But you know what? At the same time, we'll see where it goes. Right now, over on the YouTube chat, it looks like the leader at the moment is adhesive number 8, but I'm going to give you guys plenty of time to vote. So we're going to be able to hop into other stuff. Over on Behance, Reverb Mike says, I worked with a guy who used only Impact in every ad for about 5 years. All different clients, all the same clients. How did that work out? I know there are designers out there that always use the same font for absolutely everything, but I get stressed out when I use even like the same color. You know what I mean? Joel is excited about video games. Follow it on the Twitch. Yes, also make sure you follow Adobe on Twitch while you're there. There will be a stream right after this and after that too. We've got about 3 hours of Twitch content today, right after this stream ends. Kendall is saying that it is hard to pick a favorite for, and she likes all of them, which I love hearing that problem, because that means that I was able to pick some good stuff for you guys today. So that's what we have mostly for Fonts of the Week. While you guys are voting on that, I'd love to hop in some great resources for you to be able to use to increase the productivity of your workflow. So let's hop into resources. Have you guys ever heard of a Squircle before? If not, you've seen one before. This is actually, I think all of your icons on your iPhone, I think, are squircles. Basically, it's because you don't have your uh, just square. You don't have just a square that within rounded angles. You can see that with a squircle, it's going to not like you can do this, and no matter how much you care about it, there's still going to be these hard edges. Um, and so we love to be able to feature Topia's Supply, but they have a particularly interesting one today, which is a walkthrough of how to create a perfect squircle right in Illustrator. So this is saying you use your toolbar and you click on the three dots at the bottom. This can get you to get the arc tool. And from the arc tool, you can double click the arc tool that has been just added to your toolbar, and then click apply these settings and click OK. And so that's like 100, 100, open, x-axis with a slope of 80. And then he duplicates this shape and hits Command J to connect all four corners and turn them into a single shape. And then you have a perfect squircle to amp up your badges, lockups, icons, and so much more. Topia Supply always has really good walkthroughs, especially with the appearance panel lately. They teach you how to make a bunch of different ones. We've highlighted a few of these on the streams. This one has like a rope effect where you can then create this and expand it and have it go any shape you want, which is nice. Gavril says their favorite starter Pokemon is what? A Squircle? Yeah, tell me. Squircle, I choose you. Kendall says, I love Squircles, use them constantly. And Keith says, I imagine that blue minds. Yes, I'm sure. So, okay, so I can show you also how I make Squircles. I tend to start with a circle, and then you just go into the effects page. Then you go into warp, and then under warp is inflate. And under here, you can then also bring it down to create a squircle this way. From there, I normally go to object, expand appearance, and then you can blow this up or down as you want. But I think it's also just fun to be able to go and get that angled thing. Also, just as a reminder, like you have all of these at your disposal if you want to be able to hop in and get more tools. There are a bunch of other tools that just are by default not on here unless you have made it otherwise. But great little tutorial. I think pretty easy to get through. Rick says, I don't get why that's perfect. What's the difference between from a rounded square? So look, I'll put it again right on top of you again. We'll do my method just because that's the one I have memorized. But you can see that no matter how much you adjust it, it's going to have a flat bound, whereas we'll make this like let's see, I have my iPad for notes in the way, that's why I'm like leaning out of the way here. Go to our properties panel, change this fill to empty, please. Ooh, girly. You'll see if we put this now on top of the same thing that we made, it's not ever going to perfectly line up. See, like even if we do that, you can't find a way to curve the sides in a way that then meet the same standards. You'd have to go all the way in or all the way out, and then you have kind of this overflow. So it's just going to be softer on the eyes if you have a squircle rather than a rounded square. The more you know. So there's some roundedness to all the edges. Yes. Kendall says she loves seeing the different ways to make squircles. Wade says, I remember Howard making squircles in Adobe XD, circa 2021. And Joel says, that's what I call perfect. The perfect Pokemon. Not branded. Don't sue me. Nintendo, please don't sue me. I love you. All right, back into Photoshop, onto our next story. We have another thing of Illustrator, so we're going to actually be hopping back over to Illustrator. But in here, you can see that Claudie, who is an Adobe evangelist, recently posted onto the Illustrator Discord and posted through how to use the appearance panel to be able to create a editable sticker in Illustrator. So what she's using is creating a type with some sort of goofy typeface. She says, She's going to go and add a fill to it. Then she's going to add a stroke. Then she goes from there and creates a new stroke. So there's 2 strokes on the same one. I feel like I can zoom in on this. There we go. Yeah. From creating a new stroke, she then gives it another stroke. Then we'll go to adding an effect. In this case, the effect is an offset path. She'll add this path, and then from there can adjust the stroke. She has a lot of strokes here. It's like just strokes on strokes on strokes is kind of the key here. And the text remains editable, which is really nice. So you can play around a lot with different ways. You can save it as a graphic style. That way you can always hop back in at a moment's notice, and you can then make it. But let's take one of our typefaces from today, from our font of the week, and then we can look at obtaining it. So let's do adhesive number 8. Let's see if it works in our thing here. And we're going to call it File New. We're going to go to adhesive number 8. It's not there. So instead, we're going to go to something else that I have. We're going to make sure that it's here. We'll go into filtering, and I like to get like decorative. That's fun. And let's just do whatever this is. Haggard. Oh, we've done Haggard before. I don't know if it won or not, but let's increase the size of this. And then we're going to go into our appearance panel, which we can get to via the window. And we're going to add some strokes. Can make this any color we want. And then you can also add effects like path, offset path. We're going to make it round so that it's nice and clean. In that offset path, I want to adjust it so that it has a fill here. We can drag it so that it fits within this. We want the offset path to be like a white, right? Something like that. It also works just like your other panels. So you're going to want to prioritize what is on the top, what's on the bottom. We're going to change this to like a black, right? All right. And then I'm going to also just, okay, one more thing. We'll add one more stroke. Oops. One more stroke here. We're going to make it black. And if that's under here, we can fill stroke. Where are you? And I'm so sorry. Oh no. Struggle Bus City. I guess we have to follow it step by step, which I was hoping I would be smart enough to just be able to not. But this is why sometimes it's important to follow the instructions. All right, guys, so let's start this over again real quick. All right. Ryan, your camera is blurry for some reason. It's because it wants you to focus on my new lamp. Okay? Here we go. Yeah, exactly. Camera loves lamp. Ryan, you're not in focus. You know what? I just wanted you guys to remind me that you're focusing on me. You have to select the type. Baby, I did. I thought I did that. Did we not? Because we have the offset. It also doesn't help me that it's white and it's like I'm losing it. Yes. All right. So then we can go here. All right. Okay. We're back on track. Right? And we want that to be, we want this stroke to be a part of this fill. Come on. I forget how to do this exactly. But I mean, we could also put another offset path here if we want to be crazy. Apply a new effect. Oh no, but that has 2 of them. Dang it. All right. Let's just follow the instructions like I'm saying we should, rather than me just trying to do it on the fly. All right. So we're going to go back. We're going to go all the way back here. Also, I didn't know you could go into this mode in Instagram. This is fun. So appearance, we're going to create a new fill, and that's what we already did. So we're going to click it, and we're going to click a new fill. In this case, we're going to make it red because why not? We're then going to go in and we're going to adjust the stroke, and we're going to have it be below here. We're going to make sure that that stroke is increased. Who follows instructions, says Oliver. Clearly not me. Then we're going to go, and we're going to add another stroke. We're going to make this one blue just so that we can see it. And we're going to amp that puppy up all the way. Okay. Then with stroke selected here, that's when we do the offset path. And we're going to say offset path. That's where we want to make it round. And we want to make this big. Okay. And then we're going to change that color to, she changed it to like pink for whatever reason. Okay. And then, did you create a new fill? Why would you create a new fill? Did she add another stroke? You lost me, Claudie. What'd you do, girl? What'd you do, girl? Is that another fill? See where it goes. If we move things around, where does it go? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. 11, 30. I think she just is like adding more strokes. Strokes for different folks, you know what I'm saying? There we go. And then you could change the strokes to be, there we go. All right. We're making more sense. And now, even with that, we can change this to white. And we can make this say Ryan. Oh, boys, we made it. And ladies. And non-identifiables. Not non-identifiables. Non-binary. That's what I meant to say. And then you have it. There you go. Woo, wow. Oh, did I lose you guys? Who's still here? Raise your hand if you're still here, please. Raise your hand. Please raise your hand. Is Ryan launching a potato chip brand? You should. Potato chips. Raise your hand. Give me a thumbs up in chat. I need to know that I didn't lose you with my wonderful time. Tracy says, cute. Thank you. Appreciate that. Kendall says I'm still here, as does Oliver. Thank you guys. We wasted a lot of time on that. We have a lot to get through. And the poll for Font of the Week is still running strong. So File new, the latest good addition to your wafer collection. All right. Look at you guys. Oh, love all the hands. Thank you. You guys are too good to me. All right. Moving on to the next thing. Promise this will be way more streamlined. There was an update or a post on the Reddit for Adobe Illustrator and said, why is this happening? What's going here? And this is something that I've run into a few times where sometimes I probably won't be able to recreate it because this is like more of a freak thing that happens, but it does happen every now and then where you're trying to export something into an SVG and the side just totally goes wonkers or bonkers. Sometimes if you like put it like too close here, depending on where it's pulling the side from, it will really shoot it off. And regardless of whether or not I'm going to, yes. All right. So if you have something like this, okay. And it's like, a lot of times it's just because your anchors over here are really crazy. But what you can do is you can bring down this limit down to like a 2. And that'll fix it a lot of times. Or a 1 or a 3. And it should be able to bring you around to a better edge. You can also mess around with how your corners are going to be. So you can make it rounded or the side. You can also increase or decrease and really play around with this until it gets to a point that you want. But one of the big issues here is that you're having this conflicting kind of anchor point here. So if you go in and you adjust accordingly, you're able to then manually switch it out. But it mostly comes from when your anchor points are just super messed up. So I thought it was a good call out, a good place that you're able to mess with. Rick says I have a point here. Miss Melanie's giving me this. You keep talking about how I keep being blurry because I'm not, my camera's off to the side and I'm not focused entirely on my focus. Oops. What? We're being derailed. Next up, you don't need animations. This is an interesting article that I read by Emily Kowalski, and it's about UX. But the thing that I thought was identifiable and relatable for me is the focus on animations and what they add or detract from your work. It's talking about how when something is delightful, it is something that can be remembered and something that is a nice experience. So like, for example, this feedback button, when you click it, it opens up and lets you send feedback, and then it gets tinier. But that's fun when it's a one-off. When it's something that you have to do every single time, if you this is a button that you had to use constantly, like if this was like a comment button, it would be really annoying. You just want that instant feedback. Same thing here with the frequency of use. They're going over like, this is kind of nice, this delayed highlighting if it's just something that you're using casually. But if it's something that you are wanting to use fast, you want to get in, you want to get out, that's when you're going to want to be able to use less animations, and you're just going to want to do this. Same thing with the idea of perception of speed. Even if you're doing the same amount of loading and this loading is going slower, the faster one's going to make you feel like more is happening. Also with responsiveness here of like opening different stuff, the quicker one is going to just feel so much better, even if it's just in this case, a 200 millisecond difference. Just not having any sort of delay is really important. So as a motion designer, this teaches me that like for certain things that are pop-ups or information that is needing to be readily accessible or happening a lot, you want to not have as much flair on it. And you want to keep those flair moments for the points when, it's something that's a one-off and only happening every now and then, so that way it doesn't detract from your messaging. It actually helps and elevates it a little bit. It's a very short read. It's fun. Like I said, it's geared towards UX designers or UI designers, but I think it can be really applied to any designer, especially since animation is hopping up everywhere now. Another resource for you will be the Signs of AI Writing. This is on the official Wikipedia page. This is what they're actually using a lot to be able to identify AI in edits for their own website. But this is obviously always changing. I mean, one of the things obviously would be like M dashes that pop up a lot, but this is a really comprehensive rundown of everything that could maybe signal to others that you did not write it. I think there is a place for being able to use chatbots and efficiency, but especially if you're working in brand messaging or you're working with maybe like an email to somebody who is higher in the company and you don't want to look like you kind of phoned it in with ChatGPT. This is a really good place to be able to go and compare against your output to see if it looks like you created something with ChatGPT. I know one of the ones that they have here, like looking at this, is vague attributions of opinion. So chatbots tend to attribute opinions or claims to some vague authority, a practice called weasel wording, the more you know, weasel wording, while citing only one or two sources that may or may not actually express such view. They also tend to overgeneralize a perspective of one of a few sources into a wider group. So an example would be his compositions have been described as exploring conceptual themes and bridging the gaps between artistic media. So have been described here doesn't tell you who has been describing it, where it is, where that authority is coming from. There's also, due to its unique characteristics, the Howlai River is of interest to research and conservationists. Efforts are ongoing to monitor ecological health and preserve the surrounding grassland environment. This just saying researchers and conservationists is just generalizing. Of course, these are all things that are also happening in regular English and communications, but it's important as anything else to be able to identify what will read as ChatGPT or large language models and then go from there. Keys wants to know what font the lamp chose. Probably if we were to look at this lamp, over here, okay, it's going to focus. Maybe I'll go right into here. It's going to have to hop back into the thing. But if we look at this, I definitely feel like this one's going to be for Rama. Doesn't this feel like an impact lamp? This is a huge lamp. I want to show you how big this lamp is. I'm going to get feedback for the stream. Be like, why do we talk so much more about the lamp? But let's hop back into resources, and you guys are going to hear the little thing again. One more. We have two more resources today. This is coming from Creative Boom. The most powerful weapon is a freelancer's toolkit. It isn't talent. It's communication. And this is something that I love to tell, especially new designers and new creators, is that like clear, consistent communication is the quiet superpower of every successful freelancer. It builds trust, keeps products on track, and turns one-off jobs into relationships that last for years. Ignore it, and even the best work won't save you. And this is from Katie Cowan. Just a piece of advice. You are the product. Like, yes, the things that you create is the product that the product creates, but the thing that is super important is that you're easy to work with, you meet your deadlines, and you communicate. Even if you don't meet your deadlines, as long as you communicate that you're not going to meet your deadlines, like that's what's going to get you the work. Your portfolio is going to bring you a long part of the way, but even if you have the most amazing work, if you're a bad communicator, if you're troublesome to work with, any of that, people aren't going to want to work with you. So this is just a good rundown. It's a very short article that I would encourage you read to just kind of familiarize yourself with the idea of what it means to be a good communicator and a good freelancer, but something to just remember when you're doing freelancing. Papers from Today is our last resource for today, and it just literally is an update of newspapers for any given day. It's on a thing called PaperStack. It allows you to look at every single newspaper that they have an update for the day, and also has previous days as well if you want to go back. Obviously, from a top level, you can see what news is trending everywhere, but I think that's a really good resource to be able to look at editorial design, to look at how people are maybe reapproaching the same story over and over again. So obviously there's a lot of stuff today, of course, with Trump and the UN, but it's interesting to see like what the imagery is using here. So for some of them, you know, he's down here in front, but whereas some have more like vectors or illustrations, you know, you go down and you can see that this is kind of like the common theme of how people are approaching the same story. But then, you know, you have other stuff where like this is kind of discussions and people leaning in and talking. There's like a collage over here. This is like illustration kind of mixed alongside. And just a fun way to be able to look at also typesetting and how people are, you know, have like the Oklahoman, their header is almost the same size as their main title. Whereas, you know, you have the Columbus Dispatch, nothing is quite as big. Even here, it is tinier than that. Good way to look at a design at Eagle Eye's version. Once again, this is an endorsement of any of this news, just a good resource. Dawn Marie says, thanks. Thumbs up for voting on the font. And thanks for being here. Well, do we have like 2 minutes left? Sometimes we fly through stuff, and we don't. I guess we didn't. What do we want to go to? Let's look at a quick rebrand, and then we'll switch. Hank's Baglery, wholesome goodness. This is being reported on by BP&O. They do really good breakdowns of different designs and brands, and they did a profile on this Hank's Baglery. I really liked it because it reminded me of a few other brands, but one, I loved the softness of the serif. I loved the quirkiness of some of the things like the G, but I also really like this mascot. Easy to draw, easy to recognize, looks really good on the cups. Nice flat color, looks well with stickers. But then also feels very polished and refined with the text on top of like bagels. I just was really happy with this. I love the kind of using it as a pattern, even if it's not a pattern, it's just a repeated object. And I think it just really speaks volumes as to how sometimes minimal design can go a long way without feeling like it has taken away all of its character, because using this typeface or this character can go a really long way. It has a big write-up of how they chose the brand imagery and how they worked with it, but just something fun to read, light reading by Richard Bade. And Mike wants to know how good their bagels are. I can't tell you. I can just tell you how good their brands are. And all right, we have like a minute left, so let's hop back into Final of the Week. All right, guys, we have a bunch of votes. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And this week's winner, for the first time with the new crown, going to, drum roll please, adhesive number 8. Okay, Where is it? Boom. Look at that. Congratulations, adhesive number 8, spooky black letter drawings. I'm disappointed. I'm sad that TT Globs didn't make it. But TT Globs had 22. Wow, TT Globs came in last place. Bummer summer, dude. 22% there. Rama got 30%. Next up, we do have some Twitch going on. So it's going to be hopping over to Design Sprint. You're going to go to twitch.tv/Adobe. We will be back here next week, same time, same place. Make sure you guys join the Discord. That way we can talk about a bunch of news stories that I didn't get to today. And also just get to know each other a little bit more because I love hanging out with you guys every Wednesday. And yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for the comments. And I will see you all next week. Now hop on over to Twitch. Bye.